Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Be the Expression. I'm Marguerite Brigham with awakenmagic.com, and I'm interviewing light workers to share our experience, strength, and hope for the new world and the new people. That's us. So I am so pleased to interview today Kimarie Machinga. And she is actually new to our community. So welcome, Kimarie, to this wonderful group of people. So Kimarie has so many certifications, so much education. And we actually put a doctor in front of her name. She's spent the last 24 years assisting clients with transforming their lives. Kimarie is an inspirational leader, speaker, and author, intuitive strategist, and her professional background includes extensive physical, psychological, and spiritual training with over 2 decades of self-exploration. So through her studies with metaphysical science, psychology, physical fitness, nutrition, quantum physics, Reiki energy healing, chakra balancing, meditation, yoga, applied kinesiologist, human behavior patterning, and addiction, she has a great understanding as how each area works together simultaneously to affect the others. She's developed a step-by-step system that's helped clients break the chains of disease, and that's dis-ease, and addiction. So you are also a licensed minister, certified substance abuse counselor. Wow, there's so much here. Yoga instructor, feng shui practitioner, so much. So on that note, we are so pleased to have you here. Thank you so much for, yeah.
No, I appreciate you taking the time to just have me as a guest. That's wonderful. And actually, all of those trainings was just a thirst for learning. So it was just one thing opened up another thing, opened up another thing, and they really just unfolded this beautiful pattern for me, and this beautiful they all are woven together. You know, like each thing works together to create and to get us back to our whole self. So that's how it happened. It was you know, an evolution. Each thing opened up to the next.
Yeah. And I'm sure so many of our audience can relate to that thirst. And I think so many people I know don't just have one modality. They have so many, and they, yeah, like you said, they weave and will get woven together, and that's so amazing. So I want to start off by asking you right off the bat, how did you come to your spiritual awakening? Like, what was sort of your first steps to get you on this path?
I think the biggest steps that happened for me was when I was going through my divorce. I was in the fitness industry, and my children were 3 and 6 at the time. And my divorce was pretty tumultuous. There was we were young, and my children were reacting. My son specifically, my son started to claw at his face and pull clumps of hair out of his head. He was throwing desks at school, and I just didn't know what to do, because for me, I mean, I at the time was working in fitness, teaching aerobics, like, you know, making barely nothing, and then all of a sudden I have to figure it all out. You know, when my ex-husband left, it was just like, wow, I have to figure a lot out. So here I am feeling like everything's pulling at my feet, and I'm just going down, and my son is really reacting. So finally I took him to a psychiatrist because I didn't know what else to do. I always believed in kind of like more of a natural approach, but I never knew really what that meant. And I took him to a psychiatrist, and he's a little 6-year-old, and he's probably about 40 pounds at the time. And I'm sitting on him, trying to restrain him as he's clawing and drawing blood on his cheeks and pulling clumps of hair out.
Aww.
It was devastating. And for me, it wanted me to, it allowed me to want to really know more. And when I went into, so the doctor spoke with him and asked a few questions, gathered a little bit of information, and then decided that he needed to be on mind-altering medication, and that there was no other answer. And I had known children that were on this medication, and it changed them. It changed their whole spirit. It changed their whole demeanor. And everything in my body spoke to me in that moment. I was brought up Catholic, so I had a religious background, and I prayed from that place up until that point. But then I started to wake up to just a lot more of an understanding. There was a feeling in my body that was just like, no, there is more. There is more. And so I left there on a mission. I left there needing to find answers, immediate answers for my son, immediate answers just for my family. And I started with nutrition. I was already in fitness, but I started with nutrition and was able to see how just certain things that we, add or subtract from our diet, even though we may not think they're bad for us, can actually have adverse effects on our brain chemistry and on our moods and on our reactions. So I made a couple of simple changes, and there was a different child that showed up. Literally, the teacher called me from school and said, "Who is this child that you sent, and where is your son?"
Wow.
So, yeah. So that was like treating the tip of the iceberg. And I was young. I was in my 20s. And so I was able to get him stabilized. But then I had to get in there to really what was going on spiritually and emotionally. But I started with the physical because that allowed him to, again, get him stabilized. But that opened up a whole world of hunger. I mean, I would walk into the bookstore and books would just jump off the shelf, and I'd go, "What is this? What is Reiki? What is energy work? What is this?" And a lot of it was for my own self-healing, my own. I had been in many abusive relationships and didn't understand how to even have self-love, never mind really give from a place of abundance. I was running on empty, and I had this belief that it was either or. So it was like, well, you be nice and you hand it over like a doormat, and I had no self-worth. I had no self-love. So how could I possibly teach that to my children when I didn't understand it for myself? So I learned, and the more, every book that fell off the shelf, of course, was the perfect book.
Of course.
It brought me to doing healing work. And I remember someone saying, "You have healing hands, you need to do this." And I felt very called to do it. And as I started to get messages. I started to hear things and see symbols, and I'd judge it. I'd say, "Well, I can't say that. That's weird."
Yeah.
Why would I say that? And I would literally get in the way of a lot of things that could have come through. So finally, I would start to say, "Well, I don't know why I'm getting this. I know this is weird, but," and I would say it, and they'd say, "How do you know that?" Or, "That's exactly what I needed to hear." And so it developed, it allowed me enough confidence and faith to know that there's something a lot bigger in me that can come through if I just get out of the way. And that's all I really have to do, is just move my ego and my judgment over and allow it to flow through. And so it's taken years, but since then, the sessions are just effortless. Working with people is just so beautiful and amazing. I take notes on the side for the messages I get from the sessions, because it's always a win-win. It's always helping that person and getting a great message for yourself. It's just been such a beautiful journey. And, it's not been an easy one. I've had some major wake-up calls in the process. Each time I diverted from my path, I got a huge wake-up call. But it really allowed me to surrender to the purpose that I have, and to really be able to share from a place of vulnerability and just pure love.
Nice. So what is your main practice right now?
So I have it's journeywithinyou.com. I do workshops, speaking events, private clients, group sessions. I work with people with addiction, anxiety, depression, insomnia, relationship issues, career. Basically, they all come down to a couple of things. Number one, it's getting back to realizing we are all one. 99.9% of all discord is just miscommunication and misunderstanding. Everything can be solved through love, starting with learning self-love and connecting with your purpose. I believe there would be no war, there would be no discord, we could solve all the world's problems by loving that little boy or girl inside and by connecting with your purpose.
Yeah, I love that. Beautiful. And you mentioned the word love, not only self-love. So that's a question I ask every person who comes on is, how do you lean into love? And, you know, right now, everything is rising to the surface to be loved, but a lot of people are thinking the world is going to hell in a handbasket, right? And especially being in the States, I love to interview people in the States to kind of get your flavor, because I am in Canada and I'm just, you know, an observer. I'm calling it the saga of the States recently, right? This is a reality show I'm watching.
It's interesting because, you know, we were at the event in November in Florida, and there was a mindset event. That's where we met.
That's right.
And before the mindset event, there was a training that many of us went to, and we all stayed in this house together, this goddess house of 9 amazing women. And it was on September 6th, I think it started. But anyway, so we were there, I think the second or third day when the election happened. And we always did yoga in the morning, and we did shakes, and we did all this amazing connection stuff. But the morning of the election, everyone was terrible, except for me. And I'm not making myself better. I'm just saying how I lean into love. That's the question.
Yes.
They were really, really upset. And these women are beautiful light workers. They're amazing, amazing people, every single one of them. And it's easy to get caught in the illusion that there's this huge separation, and that there's this evil entities and evil people, and some people are born evil. And even though I think at our core know that's not true, we can still get bought in that story. And so when Trump became president, people were crying, and they were just really just not able to handle that information. And when they saw that I had no reaction, they assumed I was a Trump supporter. Because I wouldn't engage in a conversation about any of it, because I don't believe in division. So for me, if you really truly say you don't believe in your division, you believe we're all one, and I say that 99.9% of all discord is miscommunication and misunderstanding, then I would have to apply that in this situation. So that's how I would lean in, even though there's a big illusion that the world is falling apart in a handbasket. The truth is that we're all one, and we can solve everything through love. You cannot solve a problem in the energy it was created.
Right.
So you couldn't fight for peace, right? It's like fighting for peace. We have to get rid of Trump because he's evil. And so we're fighting, we're making him this horror. And then how is that going to solve the problem? We've just done the very same thing. So then how are we any different? We're not being love, right? We're being judgment, we're being division, which is the problem, right? Yeah. I used to say, they'd call it the United States, and I say, well, it's really the divided states. I mean, if you watch any of the politics, it's which I don't, by the way. That's one of the ways I lean into love, is not back away from as much of it as I can. But I lean into love by helping others get out of their own way, helping others get back to their truth. Because anything that we work through, you can feel it in your body, whether it's truth or not. You can feel it in your heart. You can feel if something I'm saying is resonates as truth. You know, the ego is going to say, well, you know, there are people who are born evil, and there are evil in, you know, in the world. That's the ego speaking, you know. But when we really lean in and do the work and really get inquisitive to what we're being called to do, because we're spiritual beings in a human experience. And in that human experience, nobody said it was going to be paradise. The human experience is about understanding polarity. So if we can't, how do you know polarity? How do you get to understand it? Nobody's going to sign up to go through like hell. Nobody's going to sign up for that. But it is part of understanding what we're here to teach. For instance, for me, I am a wonderful advocate for that little boy or girl inside every person. I have a huge amount of compassion because I've been through the depths of despair and depression and abuse, and I understand what it feels like. So I take it so personally to be able to help that person move forward. I wouldn't be the teacher I am right now if I didn't go through those things. So those things aren't negatives. They're actually gifts. They're actually, you know, divine spiritual workouts.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, to move us. So the way I see it, again, leaning into love, is if somebody is showing up and they're really hitting that button of yours, first thing I like to do is remember it's my button. Second thing I like to do is remember that it's my illusion, right? So this person is holding a mirror in front of me. And so I believe I say everything like workout because I came from the fitness industry. So if you hired a personal trainer and that personal trainer was like $35 and you saw that personal trainer every week, but like every quarter you got this high paid kick-ass personal trainer that was like $500 or $1,000, that person, you know, is going to kick your butt in a way that has never been kicked before, but it's going to move you so far forward on your journey. Well, the thing is when those high paid personal trainers come in and they show up as an ex-husband or as the IRS or something, you know, we're like in resistance and we go into victimhood. But if we can remember that we hired that high paid personal trainer and we lean in and get inquisitive to what we need to learn from this, then we got our power back right there. You got your power right there. You're above the problem just by leaning in and getting inquisitive rather than being swallowed by it.
That's awesome. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so what I heard there too was, you know, when you said one, you're looking at yourself. So it's taking responsibility. That this is your universe, that, you know, your world. It's Kimarie's world.
That's right. That's right. Well, and yeah, I mean, because the thing is that it's not from a narcissistic or a selfish place. It's completely, like you said, taking responsibility. Like, what can I learn from this? Because you can learn from every single person that's in front of you. And so when I'm in front of a person and I'm feeling irritation, the indication that there's irritation tells me that there's something out of integrity in me, not them. There's something out of alignment in me, because if your body is in dis-ease, it's not at ease, there's something within you that needs to be looked at. And we want to, a lot of times, point it out. And as long as we do that, we're in this illusion of separation. We're not in a place of love. We're not in a place of wholeness. We're not leaning in. We're actually turning away from the light into the darkness where it's confusing, scary, you know, it's hard to decipher things that way. And it's truly, the veil is so thin between this story, this drama, and our truth. Yeah. You know, and so leaning into our heart and leaning into our core values and our love. We can't only use love and faith when we're in a good mood.
Yeah.
because they're not feelings, they're actions. They're
Mm.
actions. You have to, love is an action. Love to, it's easy to say, oh, I love that person. Well, why do you love that person? Like, how do you love that person? How do you show love to that person? That's really what matters. How do you feel love from that person? It's the action that makes the difference. And so when you're saying, many people say they have faith, or they do all these practices, that's great. But when you're being tested is when you need them the most. When we're getting that high paid personal trainer,
Yeah.
why these practices are in place in our lives. And that's when we need to utilize them. And many times when most people turn away from them, because they're like, oh, I tried this, I did yoga, I did meditation, I did these tools, and this happened. Well, you did yoga, you did meditation. Now use them.
Right.
Use them
Yeah.
for when your high paid personal trainer that you hired as a spiritual being in a human experience. And that is the human experience. The human experience is to understand the polarity.
Right.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that's great. And would you say that is the most important message that you feel that you see or you want to share right now with the world?
Yes, and I also would like to add that when we are not in love, and when we are in judgment or in disdain or in separation, remember that you are cutting off your own life force. You're not cutting off theirs. So we're all a part of the whole, and we have kind of siphoned ourselves and tied a knot around and pulled ourselves away from the whole, which makes us have all this discord because we're not feeling whole. So love is love, forgiveness, all of that goes together. And it's not a place of saying, okay, when people do something wrong, it's okay. Well, I'm not saying that. But don't hold yourself hostage with needing to even have an understanding of it. The understanding just might be your spiritual training for the pieces you need to develop your muscles for your purpose. And that might be the whole reason you went through it.
Right. Nice. Man, this has flown by, but I just want to ask you another question because I've seen you have done a few Facebook posts, like live, right? And there's a tagline that you write on, and it's something like happiness has never been found in a bottle or something like that.
I've never met anyone that has found joy, peace, or freedom out of a bottle.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And I love that because I just did a talk on this. 70 million people are on mind-altering medications in this country.
70 billion. So you're speaking of a bottle, not like of alcohol. You're speaking of like prescription drugs or like any addiction.
That's just prescription drugs. That's not including how many people are drinking their worries away or taking other drugs. That's just prescription. So people are trying to run from their truth. And it's like, imagine you have your check engine light on your car comes on, right? And you go over. Now, the first thing you would do would be unplug that light, right?
Okay.
No. Would you do that? No, that would be ridiculous. That would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? No, you would go and you would find out what is causing the light to go on. But yet with our own body, we want to disconnect our body's wisdom and our soul's wisdom with something, with a substance.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. Got it.
Yeah. So it's so absurd, but we do it because we actually, it's kind of the way the country, well, in the world, it's the way they're solving problems, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop because people are walking zombies. They're not living their lives, and it's hard to connect with your love and fully. Because there's a barrier. I've worked with clients and there's a barrier that stops them from being able to really feel the depths of love as well as the depths of pain.
Right. And a hummingbird just showed up as you're speaking.
Oh, I saw you see something. That's beautiful. I'm going to have to look that up.
The joy. Well, definitely the joy. So, and I guess that's right. Like how do people awaken to the new, feel the joy, feel anything, right? And I think that's it. Would you agree that's really where we're going, is back to our feelings?
Absolutely. And I believe that's why Trump is in office. I believe that's why everything is going to hell in a handbasket, because the way we are living this world right now is not working. If 70 million people in this country alone are on that many mind altering medications, and that's not including, like I said, alcohol, marijuana, any of those other things, that's prescribed stuff, then that tells me that, well, I know I can feel it in my soul that, you know, the universe is going to shift it to give us an opportunity. And this is actually an opportunity. This is actually a gift.
It is.
Because it's allowing us to say no more. Yeah. No more. Yeah. I'm not willing to see another kid die from a drug overdose, or see, you know, someone get trampled because whatever, you know, like something's got to shift. We have to get back heart-centered, back into our integrity and into our core values.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. So there was another question I had with that, but it's gone. So that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, it is. It is the Great Awakening. So it's, you know, it's a ride, and as we do lean more into love, we are showing others that, you know, it's the place where joy is, you know, and the wonders are just happening so fast and so amazing. I actually just said that. I'm not going to say I can't believe it anymore. You know, when people tell me
something. Say that. I said I was going to stop saying that too. That is so funny. We're so in alignment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's we're one. We're tapping in.
Yeah. 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 There's that field, right? That field of love that we're all meeting in, and it's just that whole electromagnetic part of us. We don't have to say anything. We're in tune. We're just meeting in the field.
We're just right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That is the beautiful thing. I mean, even with life, you notice when you stay in faith, you stay in faith in action, right? You keep moving, but you keep listening to the next right thing, and then, like you said, there's a soft landing. There's a client that shows up. There's a roommate that shows up. There's a home that shows up that you're like, what? I can't believe this. But, you know, we say that, but at the same time, we do these practices because we can believe it. It's just that every single time it's more beautiful and miraculous. It's like, what? Yeah. Like the creators that we are, we keep forgetting how powerful it is.
Yeah. That's wonderful. So one final question. So what would you say your expression is, to be the expression? So in your life right now, what is your expression that, and the light just went right over your face when I asked that.
I go back to just simply, I bought this ring a long time ago. It's this bent little ring, and it says, be the change I want to see in the world. It's just about really living the principles that I teach passionately, and remembering over and over just to be childlike, start from the beginning, be humble, and just act like I am learning every day, empty my cup every day, rather than come from a place of I know this because I have this education. I empty it every day, and I learn from everyone.
Beautiful. Thank you. So if anyone, I know you did mention your website, but if you could mention it again, and I'll put it in the YouTube link. So if anyone resonates with you and wants to learn more, how can they find you?
Oh, I would love that. It is at www.journeywithinyou.com. That's YOU. And then also you can email me at support@journeywithinyou.com. And I have an 800 number, which is 800-616-7380.
Oh, beautiful. Well, thank you again, darling. It's so good to see you. Yes, we did meet in Florida, and you graciously hosted us as we drove through in your beautiful goddess home and labyrinth garden. And oh yeah, so you're so generous. Thank you so much for being here today. So great to see your beautiful face again.
It's so wonderful to connect with you too. Let's keep in touch.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah. And thank you all for being here with us today, tuning in and just adding your presence, your light and love. And if you would like to join us for interviews and share your experience, strength, and hope, we'd love to have you. And you can just join us at www.awakenmagic.com. So big love to all of you. And for you, Kimarie, thank you, darling.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Oh, I got my glasses on. Stop the recording. Okay, bye, love.
Bye-bye.